Hi, YouTube. I hope you're all doing good. First off, please forgive me if I get cut off. I don't know if I'll be back on, but I'll do my best here. We had electrical problems since last night and pump problems, I think, because of that today. So things have been pretty hectic around here. So I'm just doing my best today. I want to tell you about a story about a transgender boy and his story from the 50s and 60s and what happened to him and his brother by a man named John Money. I'm going to share with you, if you care to watch it. It's called Parental Trauma in a World of Gender Insanity with Jordan Peterson and Dr. Miriam Grossman. Now, this Dr. Grossman, she has been through, just like Jordan Peterson, some pretty awful times because they're standing up for what is sane in this world, unlike the insanity that was spurred on from the 50s and 60s by this John Money. Okay, there was these little boys, the Reamer twins, I think is how you say their names. And the one boy in particular had like a, a dysmorphia of some sort. Now, from what I understand, and that's kind of common as far as maybe like the urethral part of the penis might be a little crooked or something, and then they'll do surgery. Well, instead of or like uh uh what do you call it? Oh, just a minute. Circumcision, that type of surgery. Well, instead of that happening, the settings on the tools were set wrong, and they ended up castrating this little boy that was under 2 years old. At that time, his parents took him, they saw a commercial that if you had a child that was gender dysmorphia, which hermaphrodites are very rare in this world, and they usually in the cells in the um, uh, chromosomes always speak to who that child is. So, okay, in the meantime, these parents who were very young, like 19 and 20 years old, took their little boys to this John Money, I believe, at Johns Hopkins Institute back in them days. I will share the whole story for you, and you can look up the story of what happened to this little boy. Um, okay, his name, he was born Bruce. They changed his name to Brenda. He ended up getting married and to a woman and called himself David, and he always wanted the peace standing up. Okay, here's some things that happened. Okay, they told the parents with these studies from this man, and I hope you listen to the whole story and how this can help other people in the world just by knowing the information that I'm going to put a link to. But I'll give you the brief as I can, this story. So they took little Bruce and his brother to this doctor that had advertised on television that they could help their child if they were having like gender issues. And this was back in the 50s. So what they did, this operation, and ended up botching it on this child. They were told to take the child home and rename her and raise him as a girl, and that the grandparents and everybody should keep insisting, like buy him pink dresses and give him dolls and insist that he's a little girl. And like I say, he always wanted a piece standing up, which could be a problem. If you can imagine, like a little boy that's more aggressive than the other girls and stronger and more active, them type of things. This is getting really sad about this time. once a year, these parents would take, in the 60s now, from the 50s to the 60s, this Dr. John Money was um, analyzing these children. He would talk to the parents for about, like a little bit, for like a half hour, and then he would take the boys into his room and talk to them sometimes for hours on end. And after a while, these little boys didn't want to go back there anymore. Come to find out that this person had been sexually abusing these children. Okay, but all the studies that are done on gender now, this information that had started this whole movement of, he was the person that said your gender isn't who you were born by the will of God, it's who you think you are. He's the one that started this movement that's going on right now. And the proof of the case and what happened to this child was covered up. And because this man wanted to keep funding for his projects, his project in particular was pretending, I guess he had a really abusive father. And so his idea for manhood was to castrate men, and then they wouldn't be as aggressive. So this is the father of this gender trans movement going on right now. If I think of anything else, oh yeah, I will think of it right now. Okay. After that, the brother that hadn't been mutilated died of cancer, I believe. And then Bruce, who was now Brenda, and then had gotten married and changed his name to David, ended up committing suicide. So I just thought I'd tell you where the beginnings of all this and how it was hidden from the world. And the study was pushed forward with this John Money's information saying that you can be any gender you want to be, and here's the proof. And they used this little boy I'm talking about, one of the Reamer twins, Bruce. They used Bruce as that example. So I just thought that you'd be interested in knowing all that and the rarity of a true hermaphrodite, which actually isn't. It's gender dysmorphia. It still will resemble more one or the other, and it is still a very rare thing. Now, for parents in this world right now, you're facing an awful lot of backlash from the schools and their teachings of these things, pushing these insane non-truths that are not. They're basically, their premise was what is biological and physical has nothing to do with the actual thing, which is a total lie. So anyway, pretty wild, huh? Terrible. Imagine those parents. That's heartbreaking. They lost both their sons. And then there's communities of parents that are going through these things with their children, and they're afraid to come out and talk in public, that they're going to be shunned or shamed for not going along with the insanity. You know? We have a 74-degree day here. It's supposed to be 84 tomorrow, but then it's going to go back into the 40s again with some colder weather for about a week, is what it looks like. So I don't know. I haven't had a chance. I saw I have a new subscriber. Thank you for being here. I will check out on my YouTube, what do you call it, studio, but I haven't been over there. When we were working around here, was playing some music that I shared in my community and on Facebook, but just actually because it was kind of a tense situation and I was trying to lighten up the mood. So, I was playing things like bony fingers and put another log on the fire and, you know, cook me up some bacon and some beans, fetch my pipe and then go get my slippers, sew my socks and mend my old blue jeans. Come on, baby. Old country songs. And the end of it is then, well, after she lifts up the car and changes the tire and does all these things, then he tells her to sit down at my feet because I like you when you're sweet and you know that it's not feminine to fight. But the end of the song is come and tell me why you're leaving me. Duh. Yeah, really isn't just a song. Same with bony fingers. You work your fingers to the bone. What do you get? Bony fingers. Bony fingers. I was just in the mood for some corny songs, to try and lighten up the mood, you know. So, anyway, so yeah. Them poor little boys, them poor parents. I can't imagine. I mean, not only were they very young when their child was operated on, and one of my sons went through a similar operation. It was that his urethra was trying to close. And so he was 12. I had to take him in and they widened that area, which was pretty scary just for me to even have to go through that with my child, let alone all the rest of the stuff these parents went through. Same identical operation. It wasn't that he was female, you know. So, yeah, it's horrible. And parents can't even stand up to these school boards and these tyrants, and it is tyranny. It is to destroy our country and our children and take everybody away from God. What is natural? What is science? What is true science? Biology and what is sound? What is not insane? You know? And, a lot of times people will think, well, this is just normal. No, it isn't. This has a lot to do with maybe their parents were, I make a joke, well, like who dropped you on your head or whatever. It's not really even funny because, yeah, okay, people do bad things whether they've had head injuries or not. But we've had generations and generations of drug and fetal alcohol syndrome in children for generations. I mean, since actually pre Egyptian times, there were concoctions and chemicals and things given to people that other people don't even realize the magnitude of the drugs that have been in human beings for so long. And then they wonder why they have problems thinking, or they say, well, like the fluoride. No, it isn't just the fluoride. And it isn't just physical injuries, although that could be a part of it. But I can tell you plainly that a woman pretending to be a man didn't go and murder little children because of a head injury. There's something much darker going on, you know. And that's what these parents are facing. They're literally battling Satan. And Satan is using the school systems and the medical community. I am most disgusted with the teachers in the medical community that aren't standing up. And thank God for people like Miriam Grossman and Jordan Peterson and these people that are speaking up regardless of who is coming against them, which is practically the whole world. You know, it's very few of us that are going to actually put our lives on the line for people and tell you the truth about this stuff because, I mean, I couldn't say very few. No, let me reiterate there. Um, Not enough people because parents are afraid. You know what? And this is just a what if, but it's actually happened. Can you imagine if your child comes home from school because of they're told that who they are physically can change by who they want to be mentally, and come home and tell your parents that you're not a little girl anymore today, you now identify as a boy. And if these parents don't go along with what this child wants, CPS or other agencies can come in wherever your country, whoever, Child Protection Service or whoever handles your affairs in your country can come in and take your children, your other children out of, so the whole family's going to suffer because of one child's whims. You know, imagine that. And it has happened. So this isn't just pretend, this is really bad stuff that is going on, and we need to get a handle on it. And more medical professionals need to either lose their jobs for not really caring about everybody involved, all the people in the world, not just a child that is coerced by the school system and these sickos. And yeah, they are sick. Like people say, I mean, I might have known that my teacher was married when I was young because and I had a teacher named Mrs. Grossman. So I think she was married because she was Mrs. But what her gender was or what her sexual preference was, little children, we didn't have, you don't need to know that. Children don't need to know that, you know? So, and it's true, you know. But then I do come from an era where we called our friends' parents by their Christian name, by their last name. So, or surname, excuse me. We called them Mr. or Mrs. whoever. And then the Christian name is like my first name, and my given name would be like my um, Susan, my middle name. But I've been called a lot of things. You know, it is upsetting, but I think we're going to win this battle, and I don't know how. But I don't see it happening like real quick or anything. But I do know if parents start standing up in mass against this, um, you will win. You will win out. It's just like it could be just like the Anheuser Busch commercial with that guy in a tub, you know, with all his beers and shit. Oh, fucking weirdo. Um, they lost money on their stock now because the people that are, and I think our dollars will speak if we can, like, use our money like the conservatives we are and boycott the companies that are serving Satan, you know, to the best of our abilities, you know. But, you know, like BlackRock or um, whoever they are funded by gives them enough money to keep their company afloat anyway. So, really, anything we do isn't going to make an impact in that area, but to actually let people know in your life and you know who you come across and other parents you talk to, and who cares what they think? Speak up, use your voice, because if you don't use your voice now for the children, somebody else is going to use their voice for on your child, you know, or grandchild, or even if you don't know the little kid, we can't let little kids be mutilated. And these hospitals are going to be making billions of dollars off of mutilating children that will never have functioning parts, but are coerced and convinced into being another sex that they're not in times of confusion when they're little people. That's about as horrifically sick as you can get. And if that doesn't make you angry, I don't know what will. I mean, if it doesn't upset you, I'm not talking rage, you know, but I can see where that could even be a thing, you know. What's going to happen in this world when people start losing their children to not only not ever being able to have like a grandchild, but for the state to step in and come and separate your family because you won't agree to what your child wants to do on one certain day, you know? And the actual study proved that a child raised as a girl when it was a natural boy did not turn out well, you know? And this was how long ago? 60 years ago, you know, or more, going on 70 years. These monsters have a jump on us that far ahead. When I say like hundreds of years, I'm not kidding with all of this, you know. So, but that I still them parents, and I'm sure I bet the parents are still alive, or maybe not. I don't know if they just had those two little boys or if they went on to have more children. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. But you can look up the Reamer twins and you can listen to David, who was Bruce then Brenda, talk to you in his own voice. And you can see the pain on this man, you know, for what he went through in his life, which is horrific. And it was all covered up just so they could keep money flowing into that institute and further their agenda around the world by and the dude wrote a book based on that whole thing of how it was such a success that this little boy turned into a girl wearing pink dresses, was like a perfect little girl. No, he wasn't. He suffered everywhere. He talks about how what it was like being around, being placed in with the girls when he was a little boy and things like that, you know. So it's pretty bad. Poor people, all of them. It is heartbreaking. And then now, that's just one of many. There's groups and groups of parents out there going through this stuff, battling the school systems and trying to keep their families sane, medically sound, physically, you know. Yeah. I really hope you watch it. It's like 120 minutes long or something, but educate yourself so you can educate other people. You really, really need to, you know. Just like I was telling Doug last night about the Noahide laws, he will not listen to me about Trump signing in that education, I don't know if it was called like I can't bill or whatever, um, with the rabbi all standing around him and stuff with the Noahide laws. And he was trying to get me to listen to something else, and I've tried to get him to listen to this ever since I met him. He knows though, see, that's the thing. But I just flat told him, you either listen to that or I'm never watching another thing you send me, and I don't want to hear anything out of you until you watch that and start addressing that subject so other people know what's going on and they can hear it out of him so they know the truth, you know, because it's a worldwide thing. It isn't just exclusive to us. And even if it were, that's dangerous enough because they do want us dead. We either play their game, their retarded, over dark overlord master slave game, or they want us dead. And their laws, say that they can kill us just like cattle, you know. So yeah, it's a major issue, you know. So what a beautiful day here though. I can hear the creek running in the back with all the snow melted, just like wild out there. And the birds have been singing and playing in the puddles, and it's pretty awesome. Yeah, I love spring. I love summer mostly, but spring is beautiful. I'm not big on fall. The colors are pretty, that's about it. But fall to me is just a dead time of year. Everything's dying, and then it gets colder than Billy Old Hill. So, you know, yeah, not my favorite time of year. Although you like a crisp fall day after the first freeze, it is a nice time for hiking and walking because then all the bugs are dead and, you know, they froze. Most of them will, you know. So, yeah, let's see what else is going on. I don't know. I don't know. I guess that's really in the forefront of my mind is this trans movement, and it's like why all of a sudden, and it was set up so bad by these people that want to make money off of surgeries and drugs that they want to give these people, mostly children are the ones that are targeted right now in the schools, and it's legal for them to do that. It's legal for somebody to tell your child, regardless of who God made you, you can think whoever you want to be. And that's just wrong. That's doing damage to everybody on this planet by lying to them, you know? So it is a major issue. It's not going to go away. But the medical community, they're criminal. It's as simple as that. And the teachers and all of them, you know, why would a kindergarten teacher for 5-year-olds have to tell a child what gender they are? I mean, if it isn't obvious, those children don't need to hear that stuff. This is getting way out of hand, you know. Well, I did sub to Glenn Carlson the second yesterday. I told him I'd sub if he smiles. I'm going to see if he did that. I see he put out a video today, so we'll see how that goes. He's a sub and been in the live stream, I think, pretty much from the beginning over on Robin's Hood. So, um, and he's always been very polite. and he's always been a friend to Robin. As far as I can tell, maybe I'm wrong. If things change, then I'll know. But I think it's going to be okay. I'm not sure, but I do have trust issues with people too, but it's not like I have to socialize with anybody if I don't want to, you know. And typically I don't, but except for on here. And I do open myself wide open and let you know exactly what's on my heart and mind. I never hide. So, to me, hiding who you are is just part of being a liar, and part of being a liar is part of the dark cabal. And I don't care who they are or what age they are, except if they're a child. Then they may not know what they're doing. So, all right, everybody. I hope you have a really nice night or day wherever you're at. Thank you for joining me. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.